Hey, what's up everybody? Radx here, the one from 72, the ultra neutral, and I have provided you guys with just a ton of evidence of just weird anomalies and things. And here we go again. Here's another one with Lou Elizondo and myself. And I've already told you on June 25th that I was going to put out a video talking about Lou, right? Like on June 25th, I said I'm going to try to push this video out tonight, but I wasn't able to get it done. I actually didn't record it until the 27th. And I'm going to show you, you can see that here on the screen. You can see Sunday, June 27th, 2021. And you can see the time actually, 4:27 is when I actually started recording that, when I recorded this video. And I'm going to just listen to the audio. I'm not even going to add a bunch of pictures or anything like that. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of stuff on there. I just want you to listen to the audio. But before we go to that, I want you to watch this video that came out, and you can see right down here, June 28th, 2021. Now, I have enough heat on me now from the powers that be. Like, you guys just don't, I don't know if you get it or if you understand it. First of all, the YouTube, I'm just going to talk specifically about YouTube for a minute here. Most of the views that I get on there are predominantly just government, okay? I already know that. And they funnel my channel and my videos down to where people don't really get to see them anyhow. It's like a shadow funneling so that people don't get to actually see those videos, so they don't pop up anywhere. And I know this for a fact because me and 1010 out in Utah, we had talked to somebody and we were talking about my channel, and they pulled it up and they could only see like just a few videos. Like we're like, where's all the videos? And there was just only a couple on there. So at that point I know, okay, they're definitely funneling my videos down where people can't really see a lot, because this person doesn't have any blocks or restrictions on their YouTube or anything like that. But obviously YouTube's shadow funneling things. But the really crazy part about this, what I'm about to show you this video and let you guys listen to it, is I didn't even post the video up on June 27th. I haven't even posted this. I haven't edited it and put it up or anything. But literally the very next day, Lou Elizondo comes out and does a video. Like, and he sounds, when you listen to him in this video, you've never heard him this disheveled. You've never seen him in this manner, okay? He's definitely, something has happened to make him, put him into a different mode. Usually he's calm, he's collected. A few times he's gotten sharp with people, but for the most part, he's very calm and collected, and he's usually in control of pretty much how the interview is going to go. He's pretty much in control of everything that's, the information that's going out. This video was almost like, and it's a very short one. You can see it was on Fox, TMZ, hashtag Pentagon, and it says a little Fox thing down there. But this video was almost like it was just like shoved out there, like hurry up and get this message out there before something comes out to expose him in some kind of way. Now, here's another thing too, guys, real fast. Before I get started on this, before I play it, I'm going to play his video, and then I'm going to play the audio so you guys can hear what I was saying. Like, I don't have any animosity. I don't have, look, I am neutral to Lou, like literally neutral to him. He is at the beckoning call to his overlords. This is all there is to it. That's what he's supposed to do. He is a cog in the machine. He's not a rebel, and I say that in this video too, in the audio that you guys are going to see. But one of the things that, because the video was called Understanding Lou Elizondo. That's what the video is called. The very first thing that I say in this video is when you go to the Wikipedia and you look him up. First of all, you can't find the year he was born because I'm pretty sure he was born in 1972. He, the first thing that comes up is that he, and I say this in the video, the very first thing comes up is, that he is a counterintelligence special agent for the United States government and the Army, right? So then he puts out a video literally the very next day, it's less than a minute long, where that's the first thing he talks about is being counterintelligence. And I also talk about his security clearance, right? Like I say, he's not a rebel because he has a security clearance. I say that literally in this video. Now, up until June 28th, the day after I recorded this video, You never heard Lou disheveled talking about his security clearance is in jeopardy. He's kind of boasted about it a little bit, but he's never made it as if it's in jeopardy. And then now I say in this video, in this recording that, hey, the guy is not a rebel. He's still got security clearance. And then I also say about, because Lou said that he was, about working another job. And I also say in this video that I recorded the day before he came out with his video, that what kind of work is he doing? If he's not working for the government anymore, and he has a high security clearance, and he was counterintelligence, who the hell is Lou working for? Because he said he had a job, right? I'm like, he says, about he has a different job. Well, what's that job? Where do you go from there when you leave the government with that type of resume? Where do you go? And I say that in this video. And what does he do? He comes out with a 53-second video interview, and he counterintelligence every single thing I said. All of those things that I just pointed out and all those things that I said that would make everybody take a step back and go, that is kind of weird, and take another look at him. He comes right out and he does what he's supposed to do. He does counterintelligence. In other words, and here's the thing, the really crazy part, guys, is I did not post the video yet because, and they did this the very next day, which means either two things. This could be only one of two things. One is the one that I think is less possible. My psychic abilities told me that he was going to say this the very next day, which I don't think that's what it is because they're useless anyhow. I don't know how to control it or anything. And then the other one is that they're monitoring the things that I say in my computer before I even put them online, right? So that's how deep it goes. And if this is not enough proof for you, look one more time at the date that I recorded that video. And when I put the audio on and you listen to it, and then you go back and you listen to him and then you listen to the audio, remember, I did this the day before. And then the very next day, he comes out and says all this stuff disheveled. He's never been this way since 2017. So for 3 years, over 3 years, he has always had the same demeanor. He's always had the same control, and everything has always been kind of compartmentalized, real nice and packaged up for the American people to see. But then I make this video talking about specifically about him, and then all of a sudden, the very next day, he comes out with a counterintelligence video. And I'm going to play that for you guys real fast here now. So you can watch it, and then after that, I'm just going to play the audio from the Understanding Louis, which I think I spelled his name wrong in there, but it's Understanding Lou Elizondo is what the video is, and I'm gonna put that on and let that play so you guys can see it. And I'm actually gonna put that, like I said, I'm gonna put the thing in there so you guys can actually see that that's actually the audio recording was actually from this video that I did on June 27th, 2021. Of course, I had a lot of other things going on, so I wasn't able to get to this stuff quick enough, but yeah, I want you guys to go ahead and check this out. And I don't really know how much more stuff I got to show you other than sprouting wings and flying in the sky and saying, hey, look, I don't know how much more I can show you. But other platforms that are actually listening to my messages, watching my videos and stuff, they're not as heavily government controlled as YouTube. YouTube is definitely, they're all over my stuff. But I put stuff on other platforms, and it does very well. It's definitely not funneled down. At least that's not what I've seen. So here you go, guys, and I hope you enjoy.
I was told by a senior representative who was in my chain of command that this whole thing was crazy and it sounded silly and that I better come and talk to him. Otherwise, it will affect my security clearance. And people are going to think I'm crazy. And lo and behold, it turns out that, yeah, my security clearance is absolutely now being threatened.
Have they tried to block you from getting a job since you left the Pentagon?
Well, it's a little more sophisticated than that. What they do is they threaten your security clearance. With my background in counterintelligence, as in security and former special agent, that's all I'm qualified to do. So they know by cutting that string, in essence, that keeps me from being able to stay employed. And so that's a very clear way of saying, hey, you better mind your manners, you better shut up, otherwise we're going to shut you up.
Hey, what's up everybody? Radex here, the one from 72, the ultra neutral, and today we're going to be taking a look at Lou Elizondo and understanding who he is. Before we get started, I just want to put this out there. I totally take a 100% neutral stance on Lou Elizondo. I do not dislike him, and I don't have like for him. I accept him for who he is and what he is doing and what is happening here. So when you hear my report and what I'm going to talk about here, don't think that I'm dumping on him and don't think that I'm praising him, because the report kind of can go back either way. First of all, we have to take a look at Lou, right? Like, if you go to the Wikipedia and you pull it up, Lou Elizondo is a former U.S. Army counterintelligence special agent. That is the very first thing that it says about him. He is a former United States Army counterintelligence special agent. So we're not talking about somebody who just worked in, who was just a pilot. We're not talking about somebody who just worked in a canteen or something, or just worked on the deck of a Navy ship. We're not talking about somebody who just even was the captain of a ship or whatever, or however that goes. We're not talking about somebody who just was, just a grunt or just a sergeant or something like that. We are talking about a man who is a U.S. Army counterintelligence special agent. So everything that he says, you have to dissect it. You cannot take him for face value. He is a likable person. I'm going to tell you right now, Lou is the type of person that most people would say, hey, let's sit down and have a beer and let's talk. That is exactly what they would have for somebody to come out and expose UFOs. Also, he wasn't just somebody who worked for ATIP. He was actually the head of the program. Like, he was the main guy. So keep that in mind when we go through this report on understanding who Lou Elizondo is. For years, people have been waiting for the president to come out to the podium and say, ladies and gentlemen, after years of sightings and near misses in sea, air, and space, we now know that there are beings operating craft that are not from human engineering. That's what people have been waiting for. They have been waiting for their president. Be it, Clinton, Bush, whatever, Trump, Biden, it doesn't matter. Everybody has their president. They think that, oh, this is going to be the one. He's going to come out and say it. However, not one of those presidents yet to this day, not one of them. I don't care how much you champion for your guy. Not one of them has actually stepped up to the podium and said, there are beings not of this earth that are creating craft that are not human made. There's not one that has said it. There may have been hints here and there. Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, with his speech saying about the forbidden skies. If you didn't watch that video that I posted about 2017, watch that video and go and watch the end of it, where he says that we're going to go back into those forbidden skies that are not going to be forbidden for long. What does he mean by that? I mean, have you not really paid attention to what has been said? But for somebody to just step up, a president just to step up and say that, yes, there are craft that are not engineered by human ingenuity, and they are flying around, being that they are, of extraterrestrial. Not one yet has come up and said it. So it doesn't matter who you champion for. Well, that's never going to happen, because that would be an admission of a cover-up, right? So since the 50s and the 40s, it would say that the government has been covering these things up. So they're not going to have a president come out and say it. They would have to have somebody like Lou Elizondo to come out and speak up for these things. And he would have to look like he defected from the government to get the ball rolling. We all know that the government has been spying on us for many, many years, long before Edward Snowden came out. We knew that they were doing it. But that was another thing where they had to have a defector, somebody who worked on the inside in Intel, somebody to come out to be what they would call a whistleblower, get everybody who was up in roar of the, hey, we're under a 1984 Orwellian, Big Brother, to come out and say, hey, that's really happening. But then what happened to that uproar? What happened to everybody who was saying, I told you so, I told you this was happening? That literally fizzled away. It just went away. And even big companies like Facebook didn't even feel a dent from that. Like, they would say, he said that the phones are spying on you. He said these big tech companies like this, these social media companies spying on you. And those phone sales are still up, and those companies are still going. So it's just like we're going through this all over again, but now with the UFOs. It's almost like the government saying, hey, we snowed them over with the fact that we're spying on everybody. So let's see if we can snow them over again with another guy that we can put out there that's going to be likable, like the Lou Elizondo, with now the UFO case. So here we go again with another big mighty roar of I told you so people out there saying that, hey, yeah, there's, UFOs, and look, here's a guy who's telling us that, there are, unidentified flying objects, and yes, they are not of Earth. Obviously, they're not from Earth. And it comes from a department that's called a tip. Well, it was just like they're just giving us the tip, and they're definitely not giving us the whole thing, right? Like, we're just getting the tip with Lou Elizondo. You're not getting the whole thing. It's almost like the government is laughing in your face with these acronyms and the things that they're putting in, the things that they're saying by, like a tip. And of course, they would have to make him, this person would have to be, and I'm speaking about Lou Elizondo, he would have to be a cool, likable person, somebody who looks like a rebel. This Colonel Sanders looking, cool looking guy who just looks like, hey, like as if he just walked in to the Department of Defense one day and slammed down a paper that says, I quit. Here's my resignation. Here's my paperwork. You're not taking this whole thing with the UFOs seriously, and I'm going to go out to the American public and I'm going to share this information with them. Well, the thing is there are no coincidences, guys. It happened in the year 2017 when he did this. It's the same year that the Oumuamua came here. It's the same year that a whole bunch of stuff was happening with UFOs and alien phenomena, like all this stuff that was going down. All happened in that same year. It's just not a coincidence. This had to happen. They were just waiting for the time to make it happen. So for him to come out in 2017 and say that he's going to walk away from the government and he's going to champion for the people and to give us, information about all these things with these, UFOs and sharing this information, it was just perfect timing with all the other stuff going on. If you don't know much about what was happening in 2017, go watch my video about 2017 contact. And don't think that just because we're talking about it here in the United States about the Oumuamua, that the rest of the world is not talking about it. There's all the big countries are all talking about Oumuamua. They're all studying all this stuff. All these things are being under study. So, of course, we would have to have somebody to come out and say it first because we want to be in front of the 8 ball instead of behind the 8 ball. I mean, you have countries like China right now who has a bigger navy than the United States. And what has Lou said many times? He's already said, look, these things like to be around water. Well, China is also investing a lot of money in alien contact, in these UFOs. And if they come out and say, hey, we have alien contact first, well, that's not going to look very good for the United States. It's going to put the United States behind the 8 ball instead of the front of the 8 ball. So they have to come out and they have to do exactly what's happening right now. However, Lou is not a rebel by any means. He may look to be a rebel. He may sound like he's being a rebel. He may be doing things that you may think that, hey, this guy is champion for us, but he has clearly stated already many times in many videos that he will not violate his oath to what he says to the American people, which he says it's not to the government, it's the American people. That's another one of those kind of things, of being that rebel type thing. Like, oh, I'm doing this for you guys, not for the government. He's also stated that he still holds a security clearance. So there is an open door for Lou to go back into the government. I mean, he also says that he's working a job, right? Like he's working. Well, what kind of work is he doing? If you look at this man's resume, you look that he worked for counterintelligence and all this stuff for the United States. He was the head of this apartment stuff. What kind of work is Lou doing right now? Who is he working for? I mean, is he lined up to do the next Colonel Sanders KFC commercial? I don't know. But I mean, to me, when he says that, hey, I'm not secretly working for the government, well, the very first thing that it says in your resume is that you were counterintelligence in the Army. So that makes it already suspicious. And I'm sorry, Lou, it's not a slam at you. It's not that I'm coming at you. That is your job. And so because that is your job, we have to look at it in that perspective that, yes, this could be a lot of counterintelligence when you're saying that you're not still working for the government, so that we should just trust you and that you're this rebel and all these things without saying that you're a rebel. See, you have to understand, guys, that you have to read between the lines when he speaks. You have to understand the double talk, and you have to fill in the blanks within reason. You can't just go take him for face value, although he's a very likable guy and we want to take him for face value. But it's just not the case, because if you read his resume, once again, counterintelligence. In fact, as I speak right now in this video, no doubt that they are monitoring exactly everything that I'm saying about Lou Elizondo. And I just said his name again because I know it's going to get monitored. They're going to be looking at this video and making sure that I'm not saying things that they're going to have to flag and pull it down, which is more evidence and more proof. Lou is in no doubt telling everyone, not just the American public as most people understand it, that, you know, hey, there's alien life forms and stuff. He is telling the whole world. This is an announcement to the entire world. So when you guys are listening to him, keep in mind that just not the American public are listening to everything that he's saying and paying attention to what he's saying. The whole world is. And what he is saying is, hey, these things are not of human origin. He literally has said there is no way possible humans can operate these vehicles the way that they move. And he's also said that these vehicles have been spotted around since the 40s and 50s, and that if this was Chinese or Russian tech, well, how come back in the 40s and 50s they were still using this same type of technology, and yet they haven't already conquered the world? Because that's really what it all comes down to. So he's telling you that, yes, these are not of human origins. And like I said, even though he says he's not working for the government right now, the June 25th report was almost as if he wrote it himself, word from word. A week or two before this report came out, he literally said almost everything word from word of what was going to be in that report. It's literally like he wrote it himself and submitted it, and they said, okay, Lou, this is what we're going to put out because this is what you think is a good thing to say right now. This is what we should broadcast to the world on where we're at, you know, that we're not saying that, hey, these things are not ours and that we don't understand what they are, and the fact that we're not saying that they're alien either, but we're not ruling it out. And that's pretty much what Lou has said. He literally said it word from word of what that report was going to be. And when you take a look at what they're saying in that report, and people who have been trying to, you know, just kind of pushing it down and stuff, they are saying that they cannot identify these objects except for one out of 100 and so, like 143, which is another thing that Lou said. He said it was going to be like 100 and something sightings. But also keep in mind that this report is literally only in the past year that they have taken this report. So they're not going backlogging for years and years and years of other UFO reports. They're literally taking the ones in just the past year or so, and that's what they're putting out there. And the government is telling you that, hey, we have the best radars in the world. We have the best military observers in the world, and we cannot explain what these things are. So they are telling you that, yes, they are of alien origin. I don't care what anybody says or what you want to think. Look, if we don't have the best radar and we don't have the best military with the best, you know, military capabilities, then what really is going on in the United States government? Especially when other countries have already said that America spends more on its military than the next 10 militaries combined. So in short, what does this all mean? This means that in that report, they said that they're going to be looking for more funding. They need to be putting more money into this. This means that there's going to be most likely another branch of the government that's probably going to be connected to the Space Force, and it's going to be a research branch. It's going to be a lot bigger than just a tip or people just, putting in tips, but actually doing full-on reports, full-on investigations. And what does this mean for Lou Elizondo? Who is the best man for the job? Of course, it's going to be Lou Elizondo. This means that he is going to be reemployed by the government, a champion of the people, somebody who came out and broke out and said, hey, look, there's UFOs, there's all this stuff that's going on. And he would be the perfect guy, perfect face to put in front of that new department. So that way everybody will get behind him and his purpose and his goal of what the government is trying to do with the Space Force and with, talking about aerial phenomenons or whatever the hell they want to call them. So yes, this actually is going to be a big push for Lou Elizondo. Do you starting to get the bigger picture now? Lou is not a friend of the people, and he is not an enemy of the people. He is literally just playing out his role as he's supposed to. He's doing exactly what the government needs him to do. We have known about these things since Harry Truman and Project Blue Book. The ATIP program is not something that's new. These programs have been going on off and on for many, many, many years. Like I said, all the way back from Harry Truman with Project Blue Book. This is old. It's not new. What's new is that the government's actually coming out publicly through somebody who looks like he's a defector and a rebel, like Lou Elizondo, and now publicly stating and pushing it forward. The one thing that makes Lou dangerous is this: the play on things like people in the government, people in the Department of Defense saying that these things are demonic. In other words, playing around with this whole thing that these beings are of a biblical origin. In other words, that there literally is no outer space, that there are no beings coming from other planets, that there are no other, highly intelligent creatures out there coming to this earth, but the fact that we are on a plane here, on a planet that is just meant just for us, and that these beings are of a demonic creatures coming from hell or whatever, and that is a very, very dangerous path to go down. And the fact that Lou has not put his foot down and said, hey, you know what? These things are, in fact, they are just other intelligent life forms in this galaxy. It makes it extremely dangerous, because here is the problem with all of that. If China comes out and says, we have made contact with these aliens, with these beings that came from another galaxy, and they come out and say it first, and they display that they're creating some pact with these beings, these aliens, and that they were going to get more capabilities than what the U.S. has now, and that they're going to be, using these vehicles that the U.S. does not have, well, then it makes it an easy war, an easy play for the United States to say those are demonic beings, and China is under the influence of the devil, and thus let's just go ahead and nuke them. And that's when a very nasty, very biblical war can start over the fact that, we weren't first, right? And so that's this whole push, and that's what's going on. You guys need to understand that. And look, the United States is the country that created the nuclear bomb, right? They are the country, Harry Truman, who dropped the biggest massive bomb, the mother of all bombs in the world. It's here. This is the country that will pull the trigger. So if beings come here, highly, intelligent beings come to this planet and they want to share technology, it's a good chance that they won't come to the one country that's actually made the means for the entire world to destroy the crust and to destroy its own environment and habitat. They may not go to China. They may go to some place like India. They may go somewhere else. But for them to come here and to just share that technology with the U.S., can be extremely dangerous. And because of that, it sets up this whole biblical war, this whole notion of saying that they are demons, these are demonic creatures, and saying that, if we can't win, then we will just nuke the world. We will just start a nuclear war. And that is the one thing that's making Lou dangerous, because he literally needs to put his foot down and say that, no, I do not believe that these are demonic beings. And yes, I do believe that there is extraterrestrial life out there, which he said this, but he will not back away from the demonic biblical war that looks like that's going to take place. And the last thing I want to bring up about Lou that is very puzzling to me, it's almost impossible to find out exactly what year Lou was born. However, we did find out that he graduated in 1990, which means it's possible that Lou was born in 1972. And if he was born in 1972, because he is going to be a major part of history, guys. He's a major part of history. Right now, that man is part of history. And if he was born in 1972, that means that he is part of the 1972 time hack. And indeed, he may be the part of the fate that awaits all mankind. And with that, enjoy the rest of the time that you have left, and I hope that you understand a little bit more about Lou Elizondo. And I know I missed a bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about him, but I'm literally running out of time. So enjoy the rest of the time that you guys have left.